All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is August 17th. We got a 6-game MLB slate on this fine Thursday. Like we always do, we're gonna go through each and every game. I'm gonna give you my lean or leans on the games, but all my final plays, those will be in the pinned comments. So what I'm actually rolling with myself. If you do want to go ahead and fade me, guys, those plays will be in the pinned comment if you want to check out what I'm actually rolling with. Again, myself. In terms of last night, we had to sweat it out, but we end up with a 3-1 night, and it was nice to cash the plus 105 Rays money line there. The Astros slaughtered the Rangers. All right, Reed Dietmers went out there and did his thing, so they didn't really even have a chance. But Mitch Garver clutched up. Again, Dietmers was pretty much no-hitting the Rangers into what, the 8th inning, something like that, and Mitch Garver ends up getting, one of just a few hits in that game. So shout out to him. That was a big cash for us. As you can see in the graphic too, it was a 2-unit play, which we rarely do, so let's cash it. We go 3-1. One of the wins was a 2-unit winner. On a more negative note, our ride of the day does not come in. It's coming in from Waro. It was the Houston and Miami Nerfy. I think they scored 7 runs in the first inning, so gotta face the womp there, Waro. I like the spot, guys. Again, I jump on board with these, so when the ride of the day loses, I lose too, and I'm picking one that looks pretty sexy to me, and I like this spot. I thought it was kind of a contrarian pick. Like, everyone's gonna think there's gonna be a run scored or a lot of runs scored in the first inning, and I guess that just ended up being the case. So the square, the public, those people probably profited off the Yerfie, but nonetheless, guys, it was an L that we had to catch. In terms of today's ride of the day, all you gotta use is hashtag ride of the day in the comments and give me a pick that is an absolute banger. We got to get back on the winning streak, guys, with the ride of the day. So only drop a pick in the comments if you are sure that it is a winner, and I'll be jumping on board with one person's pick that used the hashtag, and I'll give you guys a shout out in the next video, win or loss. And speaking of the next video, we are going to be across the country. I'm going to the West Coast for 10 days or so, so the videos may be sporadic. We're going to try and get them out. Definitely player prop videos, but just FYI there that the videos could be a little here and there. Maybe they come out a little bit later. I'm gonna be 3 hours behind. We'll see. I'm gonna try and make it work and grind for you guys, but nonetheless, just wanted to give you that heads up. But yeah, use that hashtag ride of the day in the comments. Let's go ahead and jump into game number 1 on today's small slate. We have Kansas City taking on the Seattle Mariners. So Kansas City pulls out game number 1 in this series, right? They win 7-6, and then it's been Seattle the entire time through. 10-8 in game number 2, 6-5 yesterday in game number 3. George Kirby gets the rock to start for Seattle. He's going up against Angel Serpa, who I just truly don't know much about, hasn't started this year, and I hope you guys respect the transparency. Just don't know much about him. I do think this is a Seattle spot, obviously, but the juice is very, very high, minus 220 on Seattle. Not updated in the graphic, but it has come out since taking that screenshot. I lean Seattle, but it would be in some sort of a parlay. Obviously, I'm not really looking to take them at minus 220, but I do think that this is just a series in which Seattle's going to dominate. They're going to end up taking 3 of 4 in this spot. What I don't mind is the over 9 runs. Now, does Kansas City get to George Kirby here? Maybe not. I'm not exactly sure. Their offense is obviously pretty sporadic, but they have been batting well as of late and scoring a lot of runs in this series. And George Kirby is a righty. They're batting .322 in their last 10 against righties, averaging almost 7 runs on nearly 9 hits per game, averaging 1.3 home runs per game against righties as well. So give me the over in this game. That definitely has a chance to be a final play. This is a 2:10 Eastern time game. So keep an eye on the pin comment to see if this does ultimately become a final play. All right, we got the Nationals taking on the Red Sox. Red Sox choke job last night, guys. They end up tying the game 2-2. They were down 2-2. If you didn't watch it, Pablo Reyes, who's not a home run hitter, right, hits a 2-run shot to tie the game, and then Garrett Whitlock comes in and threw batting practice to the Nationals, and it was just over ever since he went in there, which he had been good from the pen since coming back in a small sample size, but nonetheless, Red Sox blow it. Today, they're heavy favorites here, which makes sense. They're going up against the Nationals, who, though the Nationals have looked decent as of late, they only played the A's and swept them, and then, yes, they took yesterday's game against Boston. I expect Boston to bounce back here in this spot. Chris Sale's on the mound for them, going up against Patrick Corbin. Corbin's been meh as of late. If it wasn't for his last start, which against Philly, he went 5 innings pitched through a 1-hit game and 0 earned runs. If it wasn't for that, then I don't think that we'd be seeing him have a 3 flat ERA over his last 5, because he'd been letting up a bunch of runs prior to that. And for what it's worth too, even in that 0 earned run, 1-hit, 5 innings pitched game, right? 7 walks. So the guy is letting people on base for sure. In terms of his whip over his last 3 starts here, it also doesn't look that terrible, but on the season, you're looking at a guy with a 1.5 whip. So I'm going to lean towards Chris Sale, even though he's just getting back, right? And the Red Sox in this one on the money line. The total sitting at 9.5. We really haven't seen anything kind of look like explosive offense from either of these two teams through the first 2 games. 5-4 in game number 1, but it was a kind of crawl to 5-4. And then yesterday, the Red Sox didn't really come with their bat. So I do think the Red Sox score more runs today, but instead of a total over, I might look at the Red Sox team total over, whether it's 3.5, 4.5. We'll take a peek at that. But keep an eye on the pinned comment to see if that does become a final play. I'm more trustworthy of them sort of bouncing back from last night than I am of Washington kind of replicating what they've done in 2 games now. All right, guys, before we continue with this slate, I do want to ask you guys to do 2 things. First off is the simple thing, like and subscribe. You guys have been crushing that like button as of late. Act like that like button is your worst enemy and pummel it. Act like you are Jose Ramirez and that like button is Anderson and you knock it out, okay? Hit that like button, also hit that subscribe button. And then the second thing is, if you haven't yet, go check out Outlier, guys. Outlier is an amazing sports betting research tool. I use it literally every single day for damn near every single pick. You don't have to go much farther either, guys. You can see I'm on the player prop screen right now. A lot of juiced picks. Okay, let's make it minus 150 here to be a little bit more of like, you know, fair odds in this case. You can see all of the picks that are available on FanDuel, DraftKings, Caesars, BetMGM. Say you only like FanDuel or only like DraftKings, right? You can filter it down and see what's offered there with just a simple filtering. You get everything DraftKings related and their alternate lines and everything. It is very, very cool. And going into a pick has never been easier too. You know, for example, let's look at Kerry Carpenter here. Over 1.5 hits plus runs plus RBIs. He's hit it in 80% of his last 5 and 90% of his last 10. Let's dig in and see what we got going on here. We can see how he's been trending, which again, obviously he's been killing it as of late. On the season, only 52%, which is still above that 50% mark. He's batting way better against righties than he does lefties. 282 on the season. Versus righties, though, 288. Going up against Curry here for the Guardians, and he pitches 50% fastball. You can even see how Carpenter fares against fastballs and everything like that, guys. It is a very, very cool app. They also have similar thing to do here for games. You can go through and look at how these teams have trended against one another. Look at their team prop, their game props, the player props that are in this game. Very, very cool, guys. If you haven't checked out Outlier, you can get a 7-day free trial with the link in my description as well as the pinned comment. And you guys know I preach Outlier from the rooftops. I really believe in this tool. I think it definitely helps you, and it's always best to have something like this in your arsenal when sports betting, rather than just go into the books and being like, oh, that looks like a good line. No, start somewhere, and that somewhere to start is going to be Outlier. So make sure to check it out. That link again is in the pinned comment. All right, we got St. Louis taking on the New York Mets here. St. Louis coming off of taking 2 of 3 against Oakland. They did get pummeled yesterday. They lost 8-0. The Mets take 2 of 3 against Pittsburgh, and they did the pummeling yesterday as they win 8-3. Today they have Jose Quintana on the mound, who I don't want to really rag on. He hasn't been all that great. The team hasn't played well around him. They're 0-5 in his last 5 starts here on the year. But he's brought that ERA down just a bit. So in his last 5 starts here, he does have a 2 flat ERA, which is down slightly from the 3.03 ERA so far, which obviously, you're only looking at small sample size from him to begin with. But nonetheless, pitching better than we see Adam Wainwright pitching right now on the side for the Cardinals. So I'm going to lean towards the Mets here. Wainwright just has not looked all that great. Last couple starts here, 8 earned runs, 7 earned runs. In 3 of his last 5 starts, he has 7 or more earned runs, which that's where I'm like, okay, you know what? The guy just isn't really feeling it. I will say, for context and to keep it transparent, this St. Louis offense has looked a lot better than this Mets offense. But this Mets offense did put up a few high-scoring run games against the Pirates there. So take that what it's worth. But yeah, the St. Louis offense really has been putting up more runs. So if you're an offensive guy, you might want to fade the Mets here. If you believe in the pitching discrepancy, then the Mets is going to be your play. In terms of the total 10.5, though, I wanted to take the under here, but I just can't really trust, both pitchers to go out there and do the thing. So I think one of these teams is going to have a high scoring night. I hope it's the Mets because we're leaning that way on the money line, but give me the over, even though it's way up there at 10.5. Give me the over. All right, we got Cleveland taking on Detroit. It's not necessarily a series that I am excited for, but nonetheless, today on the mound for the Guardians here, we have Xavier Curry going up against Tariq Screwball for the Detroit Tigers here. Again, I don't really know if I love anything here. Maybe I look at Cleveland just because they are even odds right now, so maybe you're getting some decent ROI, but what I might consider more than anything is the under in this spot. Now, I don't really want to rag on what Detroit's done. Detroit actually has a couple big underdog wins as of late, including yesterday's plus 161 win. A couple games back, they were plus 175 and beat Boston, but I just don't love them as favorites. Minus 118 in this spot, right? So I'm going to trust the Guardians just for the value perspective. Whether or not this becomes a final play, I'm not really leaning towards the fact that it is, just keeping it 100 with you guys, but if it were to be a money line, I had a gun to my head, I would lean Cleveland here. But I don't think either one of these teams really has the pizzazz right now. And the one thing that I might consider actually making a final play would be the under 8 right now. Even though the pitching isn't all that great for either side, I do think that these offenses have a long way to go in terms of being consistent. So Detroit has scored, a couple high scoring games as of late. Same thing with Cleveland, but when you talk about consistency, neither one of these teams are really there as of right now. All right, next up, we have San Diego taking on Arizona. Before we do it, though, I do want to say I loved reading your comments yesterday. I asked you guys who's the most famous person that you'd met or ran into, and some of those stories were absolutely crazy. So shout out to you guys. If you are watching right now, still into this video, which is obviously a shorter video, but later on in the video, make sure to comment 11, guys. I want to see how many real ones are out there that are actually making it, past 66% of the slate. So comment 11. We'll keep switching it up in terms of what to comment and that type of thing, because I like the questions. I like all that, but I also want to just have questions just to ask questions. I'll ask you guys questions like the last meal, like the most famous athlete you've met, when these inspiring or whatever you want to call it questions pop into my head, right? I don't want to force it, so go ahead and show me that you're still watching right now if you're a real one by commenting 11. In fact, we made it to the 12-minute mark now, so if you want to comment 11 or 12, go ahead and do your thing. But we got Arizona taking on San Diego here. San Diego looked decent in the back half of that, or in the last two games, I should say, of that Baltimore series. They take 2 of 3. Arizona coming off of doing the same thing, but to a lesser team, Colorado. But the series before, they played San Diego and did take 2 of 3. Now they have Zach Gallen on the mound. Last time he pitched against Rich Hill, who is also pitching today. The Arizona Diamondbacks here won 3-0. Gallen went 6 innings, pitched 8 strikeouts, 1 walk, and I think it was 0 earned runs if I'm not mistaken, whereas Rich Hill kind of struggled here. 3 1/3 pitched, 3 earned runs, 7 hits. He let up a dinger, so I think that history is going to repeat itself here today. Give me Arizona on the money line here. Slightly better team. Do they have as much talent? Yeah, actually, they probably do have similar amount of talent as San Diego, but, could San Diego, I guess that's the question I'm asking. Could San Diego be a better team? Yes, they're not right now, okay? And I'm going to trust Zach Gallen, who is obviously a very good pitcher here on the mound for the Diamondbacks. He had a couple rough starts, I want to say, at the end of July, right? But other than that, guys, he's been dealing. On the season here, he's got a 3.2 ERA with a 1.07 whip. In his last 3 starts, 2.37 ERA with a 1 flat whip. So the guy is back to himself. Give me the Diamondbacks on the money line. In terms of the total 8.5, I'm looking at the under again. These two teams played each other. These two pitchers played each other. Pitched against one another back in, it was just about a week ago, right? And it was a 3-0 game. So I do like that spot here. And the last couple games have been low scoring between them. So give me Diamondbacks and a slight lean towards the under as well. All right, we got the Dodgers taking on the Brewers. This Dodgers team is rolling right now. Like I told you last night, I would not get in front of this freight train. They won 7-1. This game, the odds are what they are because of the pitching here. We do have Corbin Burnes on the mound for Milwaukee, who he looked good. He had a bad start last start, but if we throw that out the window, he still looked good overall. He's got a 3.6 ERA and a 1.08 whip on the season. He's going up against Lance Lynn, who I faded Lance Lynn like it was my day job when he was on the White Sox here, but he's looked okay for the Dodgers. The team is 3-0 when he has pitched for the Dodgers here, and he's let up only 4 runs through 3 games In terms of what we're looking at, he's got a 2 flat ERA with a below 1.94 whip. So 0.94 whip for him since joining the Dodgers. I'm going to give it to him. I'm going to trust this offense continues to do its thing, and we finally have some good odds for the Dodgers. The only thing that would, worry me, I guess, is that, okay, well, Milwaukee's got the better pitcher, and do they just squeak one out against this team? Maybe, right? But that's not something I'm analytically dissecting. Like, maybe they avoid a sweep, right? I think that the Dodgers, if we put this game in a vacuum, even with Lance Lynn on the mound, I think the Dodgers do get the game, do get the job done, I should say. And then in terms of the total, we're sitting at 8.5. The way this Dodgers team has been playing, I don't know if you can really, look at an under right now. An 8.5 seems super low. The Dodgers on the season are averaging 5.7 runs for per game. Like, they're covering almost, all of that total themselves. Like, can the Milwaukee Brewers go out there and just score 3 runs? Well, they haven't done it yet, but against Lance Lynn today may be the time. So give me the over as well in this spot. And that is all I have for you guys today. Hope you guys did enjoy the video. Make sure to check out the Fade Me merch, guys. I have a link for that in the pinned comment as well. The number one way you could support what we're doing here is by copping some merch, and yeah, it's definitely great quality. I wouldn't be pushing this or even producing it and making it if it wasn't good quality. We're not just putting a logo on a shirt saying, hey, take this. No, a lot of thought and effort put into the designs and the quality of the material. So make sure to go check out the Fade Me store, and yeah, like this video, hit that subscribe button, drop your hashtag rides of the day, and yeah, we'll catch you guys in the next one. All right, peace out.